Hey, what's up, guys? So hopefully this is working perfectly fine. I've been having a lot of technical difficulties and what have you, but guess what? Keep taking your shots, taking your swings, whatever it is, and one of these days it's going to hit. I'm going to actually get some audio and everything working perfectly fine. But people like to ask me, like, what is it like being an NFT podcaster during a bear market? And I can tell you it is pretty much the same as being an NFT podcaster during the bull market. I mean, I'm still having that much fun. I'm still having a great time, still putting out the episodes and what have you. As you can see here, this is niftybusiness.co, where the podcast is. You can listen to it on Spodcast. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, anywhere really that you listen to your podcasting. But anyways, going to the whole thing, as far as whether it is a bull market or a bear market, it really doesn't matter to me. I'm still doing things, still interacting, still having the time of my life in this space, still putting out this newsletter. As you can see, it is right here on the top of my Twitter page. You can go to this. This is niftybusinessweek.com. And no, this is not just all about this stuff, but as you can see, every single week, for the last 30 some odd weeks, I've put out the newsletter, all this stuff. I mean, bull market, bear market, whatever it is. When I first started putting this out, this was in December. And that was really during the good time still, right through February, January. That was when things were still good. And then, of course, all hell started to break loose around spring and in May, where we're in June, July right now. Everything's sort of stable. But every week, still putting that stuff out, having a time of my life. But going back to the whole thing, like how this all started, I want to say is how I even got into Web3 and all of this. I want to shout out to my buddy over here, Mello, crypto investing, what have you. He's not very active on the Twitter and all this stuff. He's mostly into just NFTs and this stuff on this profile, but he's really a crypto person. And for the longest time, I look at him as like my little brother. And he's been telling me about XRP and all this stuff and trying to get me into buying crypto and getting into all this stuff, and I was not into it. Now, if you listen to the podcast, you understand that I grew up in New York and everything, but I moved back to Jamaica. And one of the reasons why he was telling me to get into crypto and look into XRP was because if you listen to the show, you know it is a complete nightmare trying to buy crypto, transfer money from Jamaican dollars into US dollars, then to buy ETH or wax or whatever it is, complete headache. Well, he's always telling me, well, XRP is the way to go. All this stuff is going to go crypto, digital. It cuts out all the expense, all the problems that you're trying to solve. This is what it is. Now, this is like in 2017 or so when XRP was all the way down in like the 17s and the 20s of cents and such. And of course, it spikes up and then crashed with all the different lawsuits and all things going around. But, this is not a thing about XRP. But what I'm trying to tell you is from 2017, he's trying to get me into this stuff. And I just could not see the value of this, whether it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, any of that stuff until I was listening to a podcast by the name of Entrepreneurs on Fire with John Lee Dumas, and they had Joel Comm on the show. Now, this particular episode, I'll never forget it because this was May 4th, 2021, Star Wars Day. May the Force be with you. Well, Joel Comm was on there and he's being interviewed. And why is blockchain and cryptocurrencies and NFTs are important for use to understand with Joel Comm. That was what that episode was all about. And I listened to that. I'm an avid podcast listener. Obviously, I'm a podcaster, but really why I'm a podcaster is because I listen to podcasts. That is my favorite medium. This particular episode right here, May 4th, 2021, absolutely changed my life, my perspective, everything to do with Web3, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, everything, which led me to listening to The Nifty Show. The Nifty Show is the podcast that Joel Comm and Travis Wright host. Well, now it's Joel and Zach Comm. Travis comes in and out of it, and they're not as consistent as they used to be. I think they used to do either 2 or 3 episodes per week, but then they also had like the Bad Crypto podcast and all that. But anyways, needless to say, this was the first NFT podcast that I started listening to, and as far as that show goes, it is an acquired taste. I mean, some people love them, some people hate them, but anyways, they started to speak about NFTs and all this stuff. It brought me back to the age of collecting Pokemon cards back in middle school when all that came out. And that led me to their project, the Blockchain Heroes. Now, this was the very first NFT I owned. I purchased this in May. First of all, it took me about a week and a half, 2 weeks to actually figure out how to fund a crypto wallet, get from the exchange and getting it over onto my Wax wallet so I could purchase this stuff from Jamaica, which was a complete nightmare. Much easier now. Still not the easiest process. But anyways, my very first NFT, I thought was appropriate. Blockchain Heroes, that's what got me into this. This is over on Wax, collecting. And these are like cards. As you can see, there is a front And there is a back with a little bio, whatever description about this. But the reason why I wanted this to be the first one that I purchased was because as a prophet, sending a message and so forth, I finally saw the light, right? I saw the value of all of this stuff, crypto, NFTs, and everything. So yes, this was my very first NFT, and I'm never going to sell it. Really, this is just showing me what got me into the space, why I'm excited about everything, and that is just a cool piece for me, collector. Not trying to flip this, make any money off of it. But anyways, so everything comes full circle. Me loving the space, diving into it for over a year, and then finally coming around to starting my own NFT show. But then what was really interesting to this was I saw this tweet, which was put up by the Nifty Chicks. As you can see, they ended up starting their own podcast and what have you. But a little story about the Nifty Chicks. Well, Erin, as you know, if you listen to the Nifty Show or the Bad Crypto podcast, they often refer to her as producer Erin. Well, she ended up starting this other show, which with another lady. And right here, it's funny. This is Caitlin Erickson, now Dumas. And she is basically the systems persons behind the Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast and everything that they're doing over there. She is married to John. And so everything really comes full circle. Of course, as I started over here, this was the Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast leading me to the Nifty Show. And in this, getting this, my first NFT. And in this tweet right here, we have the brains and operations behind the NFT, the Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast and the Nifty Chicks podcast. Also, all the other things with Joel and Travis and everything. Erin is the one who's producing that stuff. So very funny or cool to say everything comes full circle. And as you can see right here, this is their show, the Nifty Chicks. And you can check that out. And if you notice the name Nifty Business, there is a connection because, again, this is where it all started. NFTs, Nifty, all that stuff, the Nifty Show. And then there is the Nifty Business podcast and then the Nifty Chicks. So there is no connection, no affiliation whatsoever with this. But Nifty is just a common term used for NFTs and a cool thing. And I just like to see that this whole thing is going on. People are producing, creating things. And here it comes full circle, coming right back to Wax. And of course, I ended up getting this NFT for listening to the podcast and filling out all that information. So what is it like being an NFT podcaster during a bull market or a bear market? It really is no difference. Honestly, I still love the space. I'm having the time of my life putting out this content. As you can see, this is a daily podcast. I'm putting out the show every single day. And despite everything, catching COVID, huge technical difficulties, whether it be sound going down, equipment being locked up in a vehicle, or you name it, all sorts of things have happened. And the show has gone on and everything is still great, having fun in the space. And it's really funny because it all starts back here, again, with my buddy, little brother, Mellow Crypto Investing, who is now in this whole space, not only doing the crypto and the coins and all that. Anytime I mention I know someone that is really into the tokenomics and where I try to get the understanding of, well, what's possibly going to happen with this coin. It's usually with him. And it all started 2017, 2018 or so, him trying to get me into the space. And I just was not having it until this podcast. So full circle, everything. Oh, while I'm at it, I'm on this page right here. You can see this is John Lee Dumas's book, JLD's book, The Uncommon Path to Uncommon, or The Common Path to Uncommon Success. And in this, there is a whole section, or really the whole book is about finding a way to build your own business and what have you, and starting your content production, whatever it might be. And a lot of the things that I do for this show and where I got the idea from this actually comes, I would definitely say it is between two places. A marketer by the name of Russell Brunson and John Lee Dumas. I put all that stuff together with my own personality, my own flair, and understanding, well, this is where I'm going. This is why I'm doing it. This is my vision. And everything comes full circle. And it all lands back on NFTs. And as I said, this is where I started. And this is what it's all about. The vision, I'm seeing what the prophet had to say to me. And that why was my first NFT. I'm never selling this thing. And as long as I'm in this space, which will be until forever, this will be with me. And that's a part of the whole story. So with that said, I am excited to share all this stuff. Bull market, bear market, doesn't matter. I'm not going anywhere. And in 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, this will just be a blip on the radar, all of this stuff. Just like when the dot-coms had crashed and everyone said that was the death of the internet. Haha, right? Who would have thought of a pandemic and Amazon basically fueling the world for a period of time? No. Well, anyway, same thing is going to happen with Web3, NFTs, blockchains. We might call it something else in the future. Who knows? But all I know is this was a digital collectible. This got me into the space. And in the future, deeds, passports, VIN numbers, vehicle records, everything is going to be tracked on the blockchain. And I'm truly a believer of that. And with that said, thank you for listening. Later.